you're in pain. Maybe not all the time, maybe not in a way that's easy to name, but it's there, under the noise, under the routine. It creeps in during moments of silence. When the phone's dead, the room is dark, and there's nothing left to distract you. Something inside begins to stir. That tightness in your chest, that dull ache in your gut, that unspoken dread. It's the feeling you try to avoid. You drown it in noise, bury it under screens, drown it in achievement, or dull it with pleasure. You might not even realize it, but every time you scroll, every time you chase the next thing, every time you pretend you're fine when you're not, you're running. From yourself, from the pain you never faced, from the truth that life isn't easy and it was never meant to be. Look around. Everyone's smiling for the camera. Everyone's curating a version of themselves that looks fine, polished, in control. But look a little deeper. Everyone's drowning. In fear, in confusion, in past trauma, in future anxiety, in shame and guilt they never unpacked. You included. It doesn't make you broken. It makes you human. But the lie that's killing you is the one that says you have to fix that pain by escaping it. That if you just push harder, move faster, distract better, you'll finally outrun the thing inside you. You won't, because the truth is, it's not behind you, it's beneath you. It's the foundation of who you are. You're not being haunted by something chasing you, you're being suffocated by something you buried. And what if I told you, the very thing you're running from, the fear, the grief, the loneliness, the regret, what if that is the very thing that could save you? What if everything you've been taught to avoid is actually the path? What if your salvation doesn't come from rising above the pain, but from walking straight through it? That's not a slogan. It's not a feel-good quote. It's a truth that every ancient philosophy has known, every mystic has whispered, every warrior has lived. The only way out is through. This isn't a hack. It's not 5 steps to feel better. There's no shortcut, no cheat code. This is an initiation, a descent, a confrontation. This is a journey into the very heart of your darkness, not to destroy you, but to transform you. Pain is not your enemy. Fear is not your enemy. The avoidance of those things, that's the enemy. That's what keeps you small. That's what keeps you sick. That's what traps you in a life that looks fine on the surface but feels empty when you're alone. This video isn't going to tell you how to avoid the storm. It's going to tell you to walk into it, to feel every part of it, to learn from it, to become something more because of it. You don't have to pretend anymore. You don't have to hide. If you're tired of the mask, if you're tired of running, if something in you is ready, even just barely, then keep watching. Because what's waiting on the other side of the darkness isn't death. It's rebirth. Not who you were, not who you've been pretending to be, but who you really are. Forged, refined, and freed by the fire you tried to avoid. Darkness isn't just the absence of light. It's not just sadness or depression or fear. It's deeper than that. Darkness is the part of your inner world that you try not to look at. It's everything you've pushed away, every wound you never healed, every part of yourself you disowned, every truth you refused to admit. It's the pain you carry in silence, the moments you never told anyone about, the guilt that keeps you up at night, the fear that you'll never be good enough, that you'll be abandoned, that you'll never really be seen or loved for who you are. Darkness isn't some outside force that comes for you in the night. It lives inside you. It's part of you. And until you face it, it controls you in ways you don't even realize. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist and thinker, called this part of us the shadow. The shadow isn't evil. It's not your bad side. It's simply the parts of you that you've hidden, usually because, at some point, you were made to feel that they were unacceptable. Maybe you learned that anger was wrong, so you repressed it. Maybe you were taught to always be strong, so you buried your sadness. Maybe you felt like you had to be perfect to be loved, so you pushed away your flaws. Over time, all of those rejected pieces get locked in a box and shoved into the basement of your psyche. That box is your shadow, and the more you try to ignore it, the more it leaks into your life. Through fear, through anxiety, through overreactions, through addictions, through self-sabotage, you don't get to escape it. You can only decide whether you're going to face it. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." What he meant is that when you don't deal with your darkness, when you don't acknowledge the parts of you that are hurting or hidden, they end up running your life from behind the curtain. You lash out without knowing why. You shrink back when you should speak up. You chase relationships or jobs that hurt you because part of you doesn't believe you deserve better. This is what happens when you live at war with your own inner world. The shadow doesn't disappear because you ignore it. It waits, and it grows. Lao Tzu, the ancient Chinese philosopher and founder of Taoism, spoke of what he called the darkness within darkness. It's that infinite depth beneath all things, the mysterious source of life itself. In his view, darkness isn't just suffering, it's sacred. It's what gives birth to understanding, humility, wisdom. In the Tao Te Ching, he writes, "Darkness within darkness, the gateway to all understanding." That line seems strange at first, but it contains a hidden truth. To truly understand yourself and life, you must be willing to descend. You must be willing to sit in that uncomfortable place without trying to fix it or flee from it. That's where clarity comes from. That's where transformation begins. But our culture doesn't teach us that. It teaches us to fear the dark, to label it as weakness, to medicate it, avoid it, laugh it off. But in trying to eliminate pain, we've forgotten how to learn from it. Pain is not failure. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is information. It's your body, your mind, your soul, trying to tell you something. When your chest tightens in a room full of people, that's not just anxiety. It might be a signal that you're not safe to be yourself. When you feel empty in a job that looks perfect on paper, that's not you being ungrateful. It's your soul begging you to live a life of meaning, not performance. Pain speaks in whispers. The question is, are you willing to listen? Albert Camus, the French philosopher, explored this in a different way. He didn't believe in a universe with a clear divine plan. To him, life was absurd, full of suffering and randomness. But instead of falling into despair, Camus believed that the beauty of life comes because of its absurdity, not in spite of it. If life has no built-in meaning, then we are free to create our own. He writes, "In the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer." That's not just poetic. That's power. That means that even in your darkest moments, when everything feels pointless, when nothing makes sense, there's still something inside you that refuses to die. Something that knows this darkness isn't the end, it's the beginning. Think of the myths. In every story that has survived the test of time, the hero must descend before they rise. They must go into the underworld, into the cave, into the belly of the beast. Odysseus, Orpheus, Buddha, Jesus, Dante, Luke Skywalker, Neo. It's always the same pattern. Because we instinctively understand that darkness isn't the opposite of the journey, it is the journey. In the words of Joseph Campbell, the great mythologist, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." That's not just metaphor, that's real. The thing you're most afraid to face, the loss, the shame, the truth, is the exact place where your freedom is waiting. You don't grow by avoiding discomfort. You grow by meeting it with open eyes, with presence, with honesty. Darkness, when faced, becomes the teacher that light never could. It humbles you, it deepens you, It shows you what actually matters. It strips away the lies and the noise and the illusions you were clinging to. It burns away the masks, and what's left is real. Not perfect, not painless, but honest. And that honesty with yourself is the ground on which everything else can be rebuilt. To fear your darkness is to fear your own power, because in that place, where the pain lives, where the memories ache, where the grief never got to breathe, is also the place where your strength is hiding. Not surface-level confidence, but real strength. The kind that can sit in silence without needing to escape. The kind that can face a loss and not be shattered by it. The kind that knows who you are even when everything falls apart. Darkness is not punishment, it's initiation. You were never meant to stay there forever, but you do have to pass through it. You do have to enter the cave. And when you do, when you finally face the thing you've been avoiding for years, you realize it wasn't trying to destroy you. It was trying to wake you up. And now you're here, which means maybe, just maybe, you're ready to stop running, ready to turn inward, ready to see what's waiting in that cave. Because once you walk into the darkness, with your eyes wide open, you'll never be the same again. Most of us are experts at running from pain. We don't call it that, of course. We call it staying busy, we call it moving on, we call it productivity, self-improvement, even self-care. But deep down, if we're honest, a lot of what we do each day isn't about healing. It's about distracting ourselves from the things that hurt. And we live in a world that makes it incredibly easy to do that. There's always a screen to stare at, a video to watch, a message to reply to, a notification to chase. Constant stimulation, constant noise. And we confuse that noise for living. But in reality, it's a trap. A carefully designed system to keep us numb. Because if we slowed down for even a second, if we were forced to sit in silence with ourselves, a lot of us wouldn't know what to do. Because the moment it gets quiet, the pain returns, the past comes back, the fear creeps in, and so we run again. We run into work, into parties, into our phones. We run into substances, caffeine, alcohol, weed, pills, sugar. We run into perfectionism, trying to become someone good enough to distract from the feeling that we're not. We run into other people, expecting them to fill the hole inside us that we refuse to look at. But the truth is, you can't fill a wound with noise. You can't outrun something that lives inside you. And the more you try to cover it up, the worse it gets. You may fool the world, but your body remembers. Your heart remembers. The part of you that's in pain never stopped hurting just because you ignored it. It just got buried and festers in the dark. Imagine you cut yourself deeply, and instead of cleaning it, you just slap a bandage over it and pretend it's fine. You go on with your life. From the outside, it looks like it's healing. The bandage hides the wound, but beneath that surface, it's infected. It starts to rot. The infection spreads, and one day, it forces you to stop. It becomes too painful to ignore. Emotional pain works the same way. Every time you numb it instead of feeling it, every time you fake a smile instead of telling the truth, every time you run away instead of staying still, you're sealing an infected wound. You might think you're okay, but that wound will leak into everything, into how you love, how you trust, how you see the world, how you see yourself. And yet the world we live in rewards this avoidance. We're obsessed with comfort, with ease, with convenience. We're constantly told that happiness is the goal, that if something is painful or uncomfortable, it must be wrong, that if you're sad, you need to fix it fast. that if you're angry, you should suppress it, that if you're lost, you need to quickly figure it out. But what if discomfort isn't the enemy? What if it's the guide? What if growth actually requires it? Pain isn't the opposite of healing, it's part of it. But we're so used to numbing ourselves that even a little discomfort feels like too much, and so we stay soft, we stay fragile, we stay dependent on anything that keeps us from feeling the weight of our own lives. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They didn't see pain as something to be avoided, but something to be studied, embraced even. Seneca, one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers, wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." What he meant was this: it's often not the pain itself that hurts us most. It's the fear of it, the dread, the story we tell ourselves about what might happen, how bad it could get, how we won't survive it. But the pain itself, when we finally face it, it's rarely as terrifying as we imagined, and more often than not, we realize we can handle more than we thought. We realize we're stronger than the fear led us believe. Another core Stoic principle is this: if you avoid pain, you avoid growth. Life will never be free of discomfort. There will be loss, there will be heartbreak, there will be days you don't know who you are or what you're doing. That's part of being alive. But every time you face that pain, every time you let yourself feel what's real instead of running, you grow, you develop depth, you develop resilience, and eventually, you develop wisdom. The kind of wisdom that no book, no podcast, no YouTube video can give you. The kind that's earned in silence, in solitude, in the fire. But let's be honest, avoiding pain works for a while. That's why we keep doing it. You can distract yourself from grief with work. You can numb anxiety with scrolling. You can use validation from others to quiet the voice in your head that says you're not enough. But eventually, those tactics stop working. The distractions lose their shine. The high wears off. The loneliness returns because the wound is still there, still aching, still waiting for you to finally turn toward it and say, "I see you, I'm ready." And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. Avoided pain becomes buried pain. Buried pain becomes self-hatred, self-doubt, addiction, or depression. It becomes physical illness. It becomes chronic fatigue, burnout, panic attacks. Your body will try to carry the weight, but at some point it will collapse under the pressure. And when that happens, you'll have no choice but to stop. You'll be forced to feel everything you tried not to. And that process, when it happens suddenly, can break a person. That's why it's better to do it on purpose, while you still can. To choose to stop running. To choose to face it before it forces its way into your life. Here's the hard truth. Healing hurts, but avoiding healing hurts more, just slower and longer. There is no way around it, no shortcut, no hack. You can't bypass the pain. You have to go through it. You have to let it wash over you. You have to sit with the tears, with the memories, with the regret. You have to allow yourself to feel. And that's not weakness, that's courage. Real courage isn't pretending to be fine. It's sitting in the dark, shaking, scared, and saying, "I'm not running this time." The irony is that once you stop avoiding your pain, it often loses its power. What you feared as a monster in the shadows turns out to be a wounded part of you, asking to be heard, asking to be loved. And by giving it your attention, by facing it, you begin to reclaim your energy. Your focus sharpens, your relationships deepen, your confidence returns. Because now, you're not ruled by what you're avoiding, you're anchored in what you've faced. Avoidance might feel easier, but it steals your life one day at a time. It makes you a stranger to yourself. It keeps you stuck in cycles you don't understand. If you want to change, really change, you have to be willing to feel it all, to stay with the pain, not forever, but long enough to let it teach you what it came to teach. Because once it's done, once you've truly listened, the pain begins to soften, it begins to move, and you begin to heal. not because you ran away from it, but because you finally walked through it. So the next time you're tempted to numb out, to distract yourself, to pretend you're fine when you're not, pause, just for a moment. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding? And if you're brave enough to face the answer, even just a little, you've already started the process. You've already taken the first step through the fire. And that fire, as scary as it is not here to burn you down. It's here to burn away everything that isn't really you. What remains is who you were meant to be. There is a truth that ancient myths, world religions, and deep thinkers across time have all pointed to again and again, that descent, not ascent, is the beginning of real transformation. Before there is clarity, there is confusion. Before light, there is darkness. Before rebirth, there is death. This idea goes against everything we're taught in modern life. Today, we're told that life should be a constant upward climb. More success, more happiness, more comfort, more progress. We celebrate rising up, not falling down. We idolize strength, not vulnerability. But the great spiritual and philosophical traditions saw it differently. They understood that to become whole, to become free, to become who you really are, you must first go down, into the pain, into the confusion, into the parts of yourself you've hidden. Not because you failed, but because this is how true change begins. It starts in the dark. Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher often misunderstood as cold or harsh, had a much deeper insight into the human experience than most realize. He introduced the idea of amor fati, which means love of fate, but not just accepting fate, loving it, every part of it. The joy, the heartbreak, the wins, the losses, the boredom, the betrayal, all of it. Amor fati is the refusal to see suffering as a mistake or an interruption. It's the decision to say, this too belongs. The pain I went through wasn't a detour. It was the path. It shaped me. And in some ways, it saved me. Nietzsche didn't believe in numbing pain. He believed in integrating it, in finding strength through it. He wrote, "To live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering." That's the descent. Not fighting against your pain, but going deeper into it until it teaches you something essential. Carl Jung took this idea further. He believed that the only way to become whole, to become truly yourself, was by facing your own darkness. He said that people don't become enlightened by imagining light, but by making the darkness conscious. That means looking into your fears, your wounds, your shadow, the parts of yourself you've rejected, and accepting them as part of you. Not to be proud of them, not to indulge them, but to understand them, to take responsibility for them. Because if you don't face those parts of yourself, they control you from behind the scenes. But once you bring them into the light, they lose their power. Jung understood that the descent into the shadow is not a punishment. It's a rite of passage. You have to go through it to grow up. Emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. There is no shortcut to wholeness, only the descent. Buddhism, one of the oldest and most profound spiritual traditions, begins with a simple but powerful truth: life is suffering. The Buddha called it dukkha, the sense that life is unsatisfying, that everything is impermanent, that attachment leads to pain. This doesn't mean life is only suffering, but it means suffering is part of the deal. It's woven into the fabric of existence, and the path to peace isn't found by escaping it. It's found by understanding it, by seeing suffering clearly without resistance or denial. Buddhism teaches that when you stop running from dukkha, when you accept its presence and begin to understand your reactions to it, you begin to wake up. This is why meditation isn't about feeling good. It's about seeing clearly, seeing your own mind, your fears, your cravings, your pain, and no longer being controlled by them. That's the descent. Sitting in silence with what hurts, not fixing it, not avoiding it, just witnessing it, over and over, until the suffering starts to unravel. These ideas from Nietzsche, Jung, Buddhism all point to the same pattern. Before there's healing, there's a descent. Before light, darkness. And this pattern is also written into the myths that have shaped human consciousness for thousands of years. Think of Orpheus, who traveled into the underworld to try to rescue his love, Eurydice. Think of Jesus, who was crucified, buried, and only then resurrected. Think of the Buddha, who sat under the Bodhi tree and faced the full intensity of suffering and illusion before he became enlightened. The hero must go underground. They must descend into the unknown, the uncomfortable, the terrifying. They must lose themselves before they can return changed. This story has survived across cultures not because it's dramatic, but because it's true. It mirrors the inner journey that every human being must face when they decide to stop running and start facing what hurts. Even alchemy, the ancient symbolic tradition of transformation, tells the same story in a different language. Alchemists spoke of turning lead into gold, a metaphor for turning the heavy, dark, unrefined parts of ourselves into something radiant, valuable, transcendent. But lead doesn't become gold through wishful thinking. It requires fire, intense heat, pressure, time. The same is true for the human soul. You don't grow just by reading books or listening to wise words. You grow by passing through the fire of your own life, through heartbreak, through confusion, through failure. And if you let that fire touch you, if you don't run from it, it purifies you. It burns away the ego, the masks, the illusions, and what's left is something real, something alive. The descent doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean falling apart for no reason. It means allowing yourself to go beneath the surface, to stop pretending, to ask the deeper questions. What am I really feeling? What have I been avoiding? What story am I living in? What parts of me have I locked away? These questions aren't comfortable, but they're necessary, because the descent is not about becoming less. It's about becoming more. More honest, more awake, more compassionate, and strangely more free. Because once you've faced the worst parts of yourself, once you've walked through your personal hell and survived, there's not much left to fear. The modern world wants to skip this step. It wants to sell you happiness without discomfort, growth without effort, success without sacrifice. But real change doesn't happen in the light. It happens in the dark, in the messy, painful, unfiltered parts of life. The descent isn't glamorous. It doesn't get applause. It doesn't get likes or followers. But it's sacred. And it's the only way to truly transform. So if you feel like you're falling apart, if you feel lost, confused, broken, maybe you're not failing. Maybe you're descending. Maybe this is your underworld. And maybe, just maybe, it's exactly where you're supposed to be. Because no one climbs out of the dark without first sitting in it. No one rises until they've been broken open. No one becomes whole without first meeting the parts of themselves they've spent a lifetime running from. And once you've descended, once you've gone into the pain with open eyes and an open heart, you'll begin to see the gold hidden in the ashes. Not because the pain goes away instantly, but because now, finally, it has meaning. This is the path. This is the way through. Not around, not over, but through. Down first, then up. That's the philosophy of descent. It's not for everyone. It's not easy. But for those brave enough to take it, it leads somewhere deeper than happiness. It leads to truth. And truth, no matter how painful, will set you free. There's a kind of strength that doesn't come from muscles, power, or even talent. It's the strength that comes from being able to sit in pain and not flinch, to carry grief and still move forward, to face fear and still act. This is what I mean by the warrior mindset. Not some macho idea of domination or control, but a quiet, grounded strength rooted in self-mastery. A warrior doesn't escape pain. A warrior doesn't collapse under it. A warrior walks toward it, into it, and through it, because they know that on the other side of suffering is transformation. They understand that pain isn't the enemy. Fear isn't the enemy. Avoidance is. Weakness isn't feeling broken. Weakness is refusing to feel at all. Take Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor of Rome. To the outside world, he was one of the most powerful men alive, a ruler of an empire. But what most people don't know is that his life was filled with pain. He lost many of his children. He ruled during wars, plagues, and betrayal. His days were filled with loss, uncertainty, and suffering. And yet, through all of that, he didn't run from pain. He wrote through it. His meditations, which were never meant to be published, are personal reminders to himself to stay calm, to stay grounded, to meet life with clarity. Again and again, he reminds himself that everything that happens is part of nature, part of the whole, and must be accepted, even welcomed, not passively, but with courage. He writes, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the heart of the warrior mindset, mastering what you can, your response, and releasing what you can't. Then there's Miyamoto Musashi, the undefeated samurai and legendary swordsman of 17th century Japan. He lived a life of solitude, wandering the land as a ronin, a masterless warrior. He fought over 60 duels and won every single one, not just with skill, but with mental clarity. Musashi wasn't afraid to die. He wasn't afraid to be alone. He wasn't attached to comfort or applause or even identity. In his classic text, The Book of Five Rings, Musashi speaks of embracing death, of walking the path of solitude, of training the mind to be still and sharp like a blade. He said, "The way of the warrior is the resolute acceptance of death, not in a nihilistic way but in a freeing one. When you stop clinging to safety, you become untouchable. When you stop fearing pain, you become free." Musashi understood that the true battle was always internal, against attachment, fear, and ego. To live like a warrior doesn't mean never being afraid. It means not letting fear make your decisions for you. It doesn't mean never hurting. It means not being destroyed by hurt. It's knowing that pain will come, and when it does, you'll be ready. You won't fight it. You'll welcome it like an old teacher returning to test your strength. This is what the Stoics called preparing the mind, not by avoiding suffering, but by training for it. Life isn't gentle, and if you wait for everything to be perfect before you start living, you'll wait forever. A warrior moves forward because life is uncertain, not in spite of it. One of the core Stoic teachings, made popular by Marcus Aurelius and later echoed by modern thinkers like Ryan Holiday, is the idea that the obstacle becomes the way. Whatever stands in your path, pain, loss, failure, is not something to go around. It is the path. Life hands you difficulty not as a punishment, but as a lesson. You wanted to grow in patience. Life gives you someone difficult to deal with. You wanted to become mentally stronger. Life gives you struggle. You wanted to know what really matters. Life strips away everything that doesn't. These obstacles are the training ground, and warriors don't complain about the weight. They get stronger by carrying it. This mindset changes everything, because suddenly suffering isn't something that happens to you. It becomes something that happens for you, not because suffering is good in itself, but because it has the potential to bring something good out of you. Resilience, compassion, perspective, and none of these things can be bought. They can't be taught in a classroom or absorbed through words. They can only be earned, in the fire, through experience. Suffering doesn't break warriors, it builds them. The only difference between someone who's broken by life and someone who's strengthened by it is how they choose to see their pain, as a curse to escape or as a path to walk. This doesn't mean you become emotionless. It doesn't mean you suppress how you feel. In fact, a warrior feels deeply, but they don't let their emotions take the wheel. They witness them, they sit with them, they learn from them, and then they act with clarity. They're not swayed by every storm that passes through their mind. They learn to be like a mountain, steady, rooted, unmoved by temporary winds. This kind of strength is rare today because we live in a world that encourages reaction over reflection. But warriors choose stillness, not because it's easy, but because it's essential. There's also a deep peace in this mindset. When you stop resisting what you can't control, when you accept that pain is part of life's fabric, you stop wasting energy trying to fight the inevitable. You conserve that energy for what actually matters: showing up, doing the work, being present, loving fiercely, letting go. The warrior doesn't need things to be easy. They don't need life to be fair. They just need the chance to rise through the challenge. And pain, real, honest pain, is always that chance. It's an invitation to grow, to deepen, to awaken. Sometimes people think strength means being hardened, closed off, unreachable. But real strength, the warrior kind, is the opposite. It's open, it's soft enough to feel and strong enough to endure. A warrior can cry without shame. A warrior can feel lost and still keep moving. A warrior knows that life isn't about always winning. It's about always showing up, no matter how many times you fall. That's the kind of strength this world needs more of. Not loud, aggressive force, but grounded, silent courage. If you're going through something painful right now, remember this. It's not the end, it's the forge, the place where something in you is being tempered, where the soft, fragile parts are being tested, not to destroy you, but to make you unshakable. And if you choose to walk through this with your eyes open, not as a victim, not as a coward, but as a warrior, you will come out the other side different, not softer, not colder, but clearer, wiser, more alive. The warrior mindset isn't about conquering the world, it's about conquering yourself, your fear, your doubt, your urge to give up. It's about standing in the storm and knowing you don't need to be rescued. You just need to keep walking. Because every step you take through your pain is a step toward your power. And power, the real kind, is born in the fire. Suffering changes you. That's not a question, it's a fact. The real question is how it changes you. Because pain has two directions. It can make you bitter, or it can make you wise. It can harden your heart, or it can open it. It can break you, or it can wake you up. And the difference between those two outcomes isn't in the pain itself, it's in what you do with it. You don't choose your pain, but you do choose your response. And that response, the way you move through suffering, is what shapes your future. Some people stay in their pain forever. Others rise from it stronger, calmer, and more connected to life than ever before. The difference is transformation. When you stop resisting your suffering and begin to learn from it, it no longer owns you. It refines you. It becomes part of your wisdom. One of the clearest voices on this subject was Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and the author of Man's Search for Meaning. He lost nearly everything, his family, his freedom, his identity, while imprisoned in Nazi concentration camps. Every day was filled with suffering most of us can't even imagine: hunger, torture, death. But in the middle of that hell, Frankl discovered something extraordinary. Even when we are powerless to change our external circumstances, we are never powerless to choose our attitude. He wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." And that shift, that internal change, is where transformation begins. He saw people who gave up and died, and others who found meaning in serving, comforting, or even just surviving with dignity. He realized that the human spirit isn't just a victim of suffering, it's capable of rising through it. This idea that suffering can lead to meaning is radical in today's world. We are constantly told that pain is a problem to solve or a symptom to treat. But what if suffering is not a mistake? What if it's the soil where strength grows? In psychology, there's a term called post-traumatic growth. It refers to the people who don't just recover from trauma, they actually become better because of it, more compassionate, more focused, more spiritually awake. These people don't return to who they were before the pain. They evolve into someone new, someone deeper. The trauma becomes a turning point, not an end, but a beginning. This is not about glorifying suffering or saying it's good in itself. It's not. Pain hurts. Trauma can be devastating. But the truth is, since you're going to suffer anyway, because suffering is part of life, you might as well learn from it. You might as well let it change you in the right direction. You might as well let it carve something powerful into your character. Because when you do that, the pain doesn't just fade, it gets transformed. It becomes a source of energy, of clarity, of vision. What was once darkness becomes fuel. Darkness metabolized becomes light. I once knew someone, let's call him Daniel, who grew up in an abusive home. From a young age, he learned to shut down his feelings, to stay silent, to survive. He never felt safe, never felt loved for who he really was. As a teenager, he spiraled. Drugs, bad relationships, anger issues. He was running from pain that had been there since childhood. But at some point, when everything fell apart, when he hit rock bottom, he stopped running. He began to face what had happened, slowly, honestly, with the help of books, solitude, therapy, long walks, late-night journaling. It wasn't a clean process, it took years. But over time, he began to see that his trauma didn't have to define him. It could shape him, but on his terms. He didn't forget the pain, he used it. Today, he mentors others who've gone through similar things. He's calm, grounded, wise, not in spite of what he went through, but because of it. This kind of story is more common than you think. People who lose everything and then discover a kind of peace they never had before. People who get sick, only to realize how little they were truly living before. People who face grief and emerge with a greater capacity to love, to listen, to be present. These aren't superhumans. They're ordinary people who chose to face their pain instead of avoiding it, who chose to listen instead of numb. And because of that choice, they were transformed. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who seem wise, grounded, compassionate. Almost always they've been through something, not easy lives, but earned lives. There's a depth in their eyes, a softness in their strength. That's what suffering, fully faced, can give you. Not just pain, but perspective, not just wounds, but wisdom. It's like fire. If you fall into it without preparation, it burns you. But if you learn to work with it, to contain it, to respect it, it becomes a source of heat, of light, of transformation. Pain is that fire. If you deny it, it consumes you. If you hide from it, it follows you. But if you sit with it, if you really allow yourself to feel it, to understand it, to learn from it, it changes you from the inside out. You become someone who doesn't just talk about strength, but embodies it. You don't just pretend to be peaceful, you are peaceful, because you've faced chaos and made peace with it. And here's something most people don't realize. When you've gone through deep pain and you've allowed it to change you, you become a light for others. You become someone who can sit with others in their darkness, not trying to fix them, just being there, just understanding. That's rare, and it's powerful, because the world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more real people. People who have faced their own darkness and come back with something true. When you stop asking, why me, and start asking, what is this teaching me? You take your power back. You stop being a victim and become a student, and later, maybe even a teacher. Not a teacher in a classroom, but a living example of what it means to grow through pain. So if you're suffering right now, know this. It's not the end. It's not meaningless. It's a passage, a sacred one. And if you stay with it, if you resist the urge to escape, to numb, to pretend, you will begin to change. Not quickly, not neatly, but deeply. And that kind of transformation doesn't fade. It stays with you. It becomes you. Pain will visit all of us. That's not optional. But what you do with it, that's where your power lives. You can let it bury you, or you can let it shape you. You can collapse under it, or you can rise through it. And the beautiful, terrifying truth is, that choice is yours, always. So far, we've talked about the pain, the descent, the mindset, and the transformation. But now it's time to ask the real question. How? How do you actually go through the darkness? Not as an idea, not as a metaphor, but as a lived, day-to-day experience. How do you stop running and start facing what's inside you? The truth is, this journey doesn't happen out in the world. It doesn't happen in your job, your relationships, your goals. It happens inwardly. The hardest part of all of this is not dealing with what life throws at you. It's meeting yourself. It's sitting alone, with no distractions, and finally hearing the voice you've been avoiding your entire life. That voice that says, this is what you're really afraid of. This is what still hurts. This is who you really are. The inner journey is not glamorous. It doesn't get applause. It's not a breakthrough you post about. It's quiet, slow, often painful, but it's where all true healing begins. And the first step, the most important one, is radical honesty. You have to be willing to tell yourself the truth, not the story you've repeated for years, not the mask you wear in front of others, but the truth that only you know. The parts of you that feel unworthy, angry, ashamed, afraid. The patterns you keep falling into, the things you blame on others but secretly know come from within. Radical honesty is not about judging yourself, it's about seeing yourself clearly, fully, without filters. One of the most powerful tools for this is journaling. Not as a task, but as a mirror. When you write without censorship, without trying to sound good or be productive, you start to uncover the layers. You begin to hear what your inner self is really saying. You let the pain speak instead of silencing it. Write what hurts. Write what scares you. Write what you don't want anyone else to know. This is how you make the unconscious conscious. This is how you invite the shadow to come forward. Because once it's on the page, it's no longer just haunting you. It's being acknowledged. And what is acknowledged can be healed. Shadow work is the practice of doing exactly that, bringing the hidden parts of yourself into the light. It means looking at the parts of your personality that you've rejected, your jealousy, your neediness, your bitterness, your pride. These are not things to be ashamed of. They are parts of you, and until you accept them, they will keep controlling you in subtle ways. Shadow work doesn't mean becoming perfect. It means becoming whole. And wholeness only comes when you stop dividing yourself into good and bad. and start seeing everything as a part of the same human experience. Sometimes, though, you can't do it all alone. This is where therapy comes in. Having someone trained to listen, someone who isn't there to judge or fix but to reflect, can be life-changing. A good therapist doesn't tell you what to do. They help you hear yourself more clearly. They guide you through your own mind, helping you connect the dots you've been missing. Therapy isn't weakness. It's one of the bravest things you can do. To say, I need help facing myself. That's not a failure, that's wisdom. There's also spiritual solitude, time spent intentionally away from the noise of the world. Not to isolate out of fear, but to retreat inward with purpose. Call it monk mode, call it soul searching, call it whatever you want. The idea is the same. Disconnect from distractions so you can reconnect with yourself. This means stepping away from constant stimulation. No mindless scrolling, no background noise, no external validation. It means sitting in stillness and silence, letting your thoughts rise without judgment, letting emotions surface without pushing them down. Most people don't realize how loud their lives are until they finally turn the volume down. And in that quiet, they meet someone they haven't seen in a long time, themselves. Meditation is one way to do this. It's not about becoming Zen or forcing your mind to go blank. It's about noticing. Just noticing your thoughts, your breath, your emotions, letting them come and go like clouds. Over time, this practice builds awareness. You start to see how reactive you are, how repetitive your thinking can be. And in that awareness, you create space. Space to choose a different response. Space to witness pain instead of being consumed by it. Meditation won't fix your problems, but it will show you who you are beneath them. Another essential practice is self-inquiry. It's the art of asking honest questions and sitting with the answers no matter how uncomfortable. Questions like, what am I avoiding? What do I believe about myself? Where did that belief come from? What am I still holding on to that's no longer serving me? What do I fear would happen if I stopped running? You don't need immediate answers. The power is in the asking, because asking these questions begins to break the illusion that you are who the world told you to be, that you are your past, that you are your mistakes. Self-inquiry helps you uncover the truth beneath the conditioning. This journey requires courage, not the kind of courage that fights dragons, but the kind that faces silence, the kind that says, I'm willing to sit with what's real even if it hurts. The kind that doesn't flinch when old wounds surface, because this is how healing happens. Not by rushing through, but by staying with, by not abandoning yourself when things get hard. That's what most of us learned to do as kids. Disconnect, dissociate, numb. But now you have the chance to do something different, to stay, to witness, to be the one who doesn't leave. There's a quote that says, to know the world, know yourself. And that's more than philosophy, it's a blueprint. The world is chaos. People will hurt you. Plans will fall apart. Nothing is fully under your control. But what is under your control is your relationship with yourself. If you don't know yourself, the world will confuse you. Every failure will feel like a verdict. Every heartbreak will feel like proof that you're not enough. But when you know yourself, deeply, truly, you stop needing the world to validate you. You stop letting pain define you. You become solid, not because the storm ends, but because you found the calm inside it. Facing yourself is the bravest act. It's also the most necessary, because without that, nothing else lasts. Success, relationships, personal growth, none of it matters if you're still a stranger to your own soul. The inner journey doesn't promise quick results. It doesn't give you guarantees, but it does give you you, the real you. The one who's been buried under roles, expectations, distractions, and fear. And once you begin to uncover that, to walk through the darkness with eyes wide open, you start to realize something. There's nothing more powerful than someone who's faced their own shadow and lived to tell the story. So take the step, turn inward, sit in silence, write the ugly truths, ask the hard questions, let go of distractions, let the pain speak, and listen. Not to judge, but to understand, because that voice inside you, the one you've been afraid of, it doesn't want to destroy you, it wants to lead you home. So you've gone through the darkness, you've sat with the pain, felt the grief, faced the fear, and walked through the fire instead of running from it. Now what? What happens after the storm? This is the part no one talks about enough. The part after the suffering, after the descent, after the heavy silence, the part where something new begins to emerge. It doesn't always come with a lightning bolt or a dramatic breakthrough. Sometimes it comes quietly, slowly, in tiny moments that whisper, "You're not who you used to be." This is rebirth, not a return to how things were, but a transformation into someone new, someone truer, someone deeper. Rebirth isn't about forgetting what you went through. It's not about erasing the scars or pretending it didn't happen. It's about becoming because of what happened. There's a reason why almost every ancient culture has some version of the phoenix, the mythical bird that dies in flames and is born again from its own ashes. The phoenix doesn't survive by avoiding the fire. It becomes something new through it. That's not just mythology. It's psychology, it's spirituality, it's real. Because if you go all the way through the darkness and don't quit, don't numb, don't lose yourself, something in you starts to shift. You're no longer just reacting to life, you're creating from it. You're no longer defined by what happened to you. You're defined by what you did with it. This is where meaning starts to form, not as an answer written in the sky, but as a quiet knowing in your heart. This wasn't for nothing. Maybe you went through that loss so you could learn to truly cherish love. Maybe you broke down so you could finally break open. Maybe you walked alone so you could meet the version of you that no one else could give you. Viktor Frankl said that when we can no longer change the situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. But once we do, once we really change, something else happens. We begin to create meaning from the suffering. Meaning doesn't erase the pain, but it gives it shape. It gives it weight that can be carried. It turns chaos into clarity, and that meaning, even if it's just for you, even if no one else sees it, is sacred. You might look back at who you were before all of this and feel like a stranger. That's okay. You're not supposed to be the same. Growth isn't about upgrading yourself into a better version. It's about burning away the false layers and remembering who you were beneath them, who you were before the world told you to be someone else, before trauma shaped your personality, before fear dictated your choices. And when you come out of the dark, when you begin to feel joy again, or purpose, or even just peace, it's not the old version of you returning. It's a new one arriving, one that knows what it costs to fall apart and what it takes to rise again. The poet Rumi wrote, "The wound is where the light enters you," and it's true. The same place where you hurt the most, the loss, the betrayal, the failure, is often the same place where your deepest wisdom is born. It's where your heart breaks open, and something softer, more human, more connected begins to shine through. Before the pain, maybe you were driven or successful or confident. But after the pain, if you faced it, you become something more, compassionate. You stop judging others so quickly. You listen more. You understand suffering when you see it, not just because you've read about it, but because you've lived it. That's not weakness. That's strength, real strength. Because it doesn't push people away. It brings them closer. And that's the beauty of this journey. At first, it feels like everything is being taken from you. But later, sometimes much later, you realize something was being given to you all along, a kind of presence, a kind of clarity, a kind of peace that doesn't depend on anything outside of you. You start to feel more grounded in who you are, less shaken by other people's opinions, less caught in chasing things that don't matter. You realize that silence isn't something to fear anymore. It's a place where you feel at home. That's rebirth. Not a return to comfort, but a discovery of depth. People will look at you and maybe they won't understand. They'll see someone who's been through a lot, maybe someone quieter than before, maybe someone with sharper eyes. What they won't always see is what you gained in the dark, and that's okay. Because this journey wasn't for them, it was for you. You don't need to prove your healing to anyone. You don't need to explain your scars. The fact that you're still here, breathing, growing, becoming, that's enough. You're not a victim anymore. You're not stuck in the story of what hurt you. You're becoming someone new, someone powerful and awake, awake to your own patterns, awake to what matters, awake to the truth that this life, no matter how painful, is still yours. And that's the ultimate meaning, to know that even in the face of darkness, you have the power to choose how you walk through it, to carry your past not as a weight, but as a compass, to love more deeply because you've known loss, to give more freely because you've once had nothing, to shine more brightly because you've touched the dark. Rebirth doesn't mean your problems are over. Life will still test you, pain will still come, but now you're different. Now you've built something inside that can't be broken as easily. Now you know how to sit with yourself instead of abandoning yourself. Now you've proven to yourself that you can survive what once felt impossible, and more than survive, you can grow from it. This is what makes you powerful. Not your achievements, not your image, but your ability to walk through hell and come back with your heart still open. That's what real transformation looks like. And now, with everything you've faced, everything you've learned, everything you've let go of, you're finally ready to live. Not just exist, not just chase, but live, with meaning, with purpose, with depth. So what do you do now? You take all of this, all of the darkness you've walked through, all of the truth you've uncovered, and you carry it with grace. You use it to build a life that's not based on fear but on honesty. A life that's not about escaping pain but embracing the full experience of being human. And when the next storm comes, and it will, you'll meet it differently. You won't run, you'll stand in it. And maybe you'll even welcome it. Because now you know the only way out is through. And on the other side, there's not just survival, there's rebirth.